I'm your roommate, Rebecca. Hi, I'm Sarah. I want to show you the big city. I'm her only friend.
Something is up with your roommate. Hello?
Or a bad influence on her. What did you do to them? I got rid of them all! For you.
Roommate. PG-13.
Oh, spare us your cheap, lazy attempt to try to bring in the horny teenagers with the potential promise of lesbian sex between Leighton Meester and Minka Kelly, because, sorry to tell you that PG-13 rating is going to ruin that for you completely. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody, and that's right, this is one of those weeks where the movies are so terrible that we're not even going to bother with a special intro. We're just going to get right to the two films of February 4, 2011, because guess what? It's the Super Bowl weekend, and that means that while people are watching the Pittsburgh Steelers embarrass themselves against the Green Bay Packers, the box office was embarrassing itself with these two new releases, including our first movie here, Single White Female. Single White Female. Single White Female. It's literally Single White Female, but no, it's the title may say The Roommate, but it's fucking Single White Female. Sarah Matthews, played by Minka Kelly, is a college freshman whose roommate, Rebecca Evans, played by Leighton Meester, is dangerously obsessed with her. In addition, you have people like Cam Diggenden, Danielle Harris, Matt Lanter, Nina Dobrev, Ali Machaka, Kat Graham, Billy Zane, Francis Fisher. You know, people that you've seen in other things on the CW, and a couple of veteran actors that you're very familiar with in a movie that, yeah, I pretty much told you everything that is wrong with this movie. It is literally a Gen X ripoff of Single White Female, and not even a good one. Written by somebody who clearly was intended to be a CW writer, but never got the chance to work on a CW show, and a director who had never directed a movie in Hollywood before, but they hired him because his short film was nominated for an Academy Award. I'm not even joking. That's the literal reason they hired this director. And I'm sorry, I love Leighton Meester. I think she's a multi-talented actress and entertainer. She's fucking terrible in this. She does not come off as threatening whatsoever. Like, this is the type of acting that you see with Milla Jovovich in those terrible Resident Evil movies and Ultraviolet. It's a performance that says, take me seriously, when you clearly can see that this woman wants nothing to do with this project whatsoever. That's what it looks like whenever I see Leighton Meester try to look threatening in a movie like this. Because she simply does not. Nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. Nothing about this movie deserves to exist. The whole film itself doesn't deserve to exist. I mean, even Single White Female wasn't all that great of a movie. Like, what more can you honestly say, man? There's nothing more to add about this that hasn't already been said already. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible film. Like, this is pretty bad. It's really, really bad. It's the typical definition of a movie that is released on a weekend like the Super Bowl because it's gonna be the only time when teenagers will go and see it on Friday or Saturday, and then don't even bother to go to the theater on Sunday because of a big game going on Sunday. And it's clear that nobody's gonna gonna remember this movie after the first weekend. And sure enough, top movie at the box office, then faded away into obscurity, never to be seen or heard from again. Ooh. Why am I even doing this? I have no idea. But, you get the point. This movie's terrible, and it's the typical definition of a movie that's being dumped because the studio has no hope in it whatsoever. We should also say the same thing about our next movie, our last film too, which is a film that is using James Cameron's name, who's the executive producer, as the selling point of the film, and that didn't quite work with Sanctum.
The mother of all caves.
What could possibly go wrong diving in caves?
Inspired by true events. On February 4th, James Cameron, creator of Titanic and Avatar, takes adventure to new depths. Conceived and shot in 3D.
We have to get out of here.
It's a journey never give up that will take your breath away. Sanctum, rated R, and Realty and IMAX 3D.
Or as a film reviewer in Austin, Texas said, Sanctum, more like Rectum. Corey Coleman, Spill.com, 2011. So, but this is Sanctum, a film that is literally being marketed because James Cameron's name's attached to it. He lent them the 3D cameras to work on this, and big mistake. Big mistake indeed. Follows the team. Stop me if you've heard this plot before, because this is such a revolutionary plot right here. Sanctum follows a team of underwater cave divers on a treacherous expedition to the largest, most beautiful, and least accessible cave system on Earth. When a tropical storm forces them deep into the caverns, they must fight raging water, deadly terrain, and creeping panic as they search for an unknown escape route to the sea. Master diver Frank McGuire has explored the South Pacific's Esala caves for months, but when his exit is cut off in a flash flood, Frank's team, including 17-year-old son Josh and financier Carl Hurley, are forced to radically alter plans. With dwindling surprise, the crews must navigate an underwater labyrinth to make it out. I can't believe you people aren't stopping me from telling you this. It's the freaking abyss. Meets the cave, meets the descent. It's movies you've seen done before, over and over and over again. And this film is only existing on the fact that, hey, James Cameron's the producer. He let them use their 3D technology that they used on Avatar for this. Clearly come see our movie, because we literally have nothing else to show for it. Who's our biggest star? The vampire guy from Van Helsing, Reed Richards from the 2000s Fantastic Four movie, Reese Wakefield. Hello? Anybody? What about our director? What has he done of noteworthiness? Alistair Grierson. Let's take a look and see. Alistair Grierson has not done anything of noteworthiness, including, except for Kokoda, which was a film that was released in Australia, and Pereira's War, which was released in Australia, and Tygo, which featured, hey, Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was in that movie that came out in 2018, and nobody remembers. Can you get the point that this is not a good movie? I mean, this is literally a film that is just using the name of somebody who's had two of the biggest successes of all time, Titanic and Avatar, and hoping that it's going to sucker people into this movie. And no, it's not. Yeah, here's the thing with a movie that has 3D. Your visuals can look great, but like an Avatar movie, visuals don't always make the movie. I mean, visuals are great. If anything, that's the reason why the Avatar films still remain popular, but we need a story. And not a story that's been done to death before in numerous other films like this. There's not a thread of creativity in this movie whatsoever. Not at all. And it's just it's a movie that has so been there, done that. You've got all these, you got all this tribal music in the background, like when the rain is about to fall and you hear that, oh, it's just like, okay, everybody's about to die in this movie. That's another quote from the Spielberg review for Sanctum, but great quote though. But I mean, that's a moment where it's just like, you see that, it's just like, okay, Darwinism exists for a reason. It's you fuckers going into this place that you know you should not be in, and I'm sorry, I have nothing positive to say about this movie. On the one hand, it's slightly better than The Roommate, but that's like me saying, this piece of shit that I took this morning was better than the gigantic blockade that I took yesterday. That was literally so damaging to my colon. You get the idea. You get the idea of what I'm trying to say here. It's late at night here, and I'm trying to wrap this up because it's been a long day for me. But you get the idea. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, yeah, you could say it's better than one movie, but they're both terrible movies, and this one just isn't as bad as The Roommate, but it isn't a good movie either. And I think I've made my point here.
Few moments are more romantic than the first time you hear.
You're married?
No. Oh, on February 11th.
Just tell her the truth.
I wear a wedding ring to pick up chicks.
Once you start a lie.
I just never pegged you as a kids guy.
How would you like to be my pretend children?
My kids? Have you completely lost your mind?
It's hard to stop.
Give me some fake hugs and laugh real loud. I'll see you in a minute.
Just go with it. In theaters February 11th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. We are taking a look at the 5 films released on February 11th, 2011. Not a lot of great movies. Case in point, our first film, Just Go With It. And you can pretty much see the problem with the movie from the get-go, from that trailer alone. But on a weekend trip to Hawaii, a plastic surgeon, played by Adam Sandler, convinces his loyal assistant, Jennifer Aniston, to pose as a soon-to-be divorced wife in order to cover up a careless lie he's told to his much younger girlfriend, played by Brooklyn Decker. You have Nicole Kidman, Dave Matthews, and Nick Swartzen also starring in the movie. And when you think of a generic bad Adam Sandler movie, this is usually the one to go to right here. I mean, this is literally a film that is nothing but a tax like essentially a tax write-off for going on vacation to Hawaii, pretty much. I mean, that's literally what this movie is. Remember how Rob Reiner made the movie North, and it was considered to be one of his worst, arguably his worst movie, and the fact that he, at least in this person's case, it is his worst movie, and most people thought that he only made that movie for a vacation. Adam Sandler took that to the next level with several of his movies around this time period. I mean, we had Jack and Jill later in the year. What was another one? Blended. Even though Blended was actually one of the better ones, that's the one that nobody went to go see, but didn't stop him from making this one a hit, unfortunately. It's just a predictable romantic comedy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as long as the chemistry is good between the two leads. And yeah, Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston do work off each other very well. They do have a nice chemistry that helps even with a bad script. And guess who wrote the script for this, ladies and gentlemen? Alan Loeb, who is clearly having a successful year with stuff like The Switch and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, and just recently The Dilemma. Yeah, you can see why this guy didn't last very long as a writer in general, but, I mean, Brooklyn Decker's okay as Sandler's girlfriend, but she's just there to be that character. There's nothing about her that makes her stand out in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing about her that makes her unique. She's just there to be the character that clearly she's not going to get with at the end of the movie, and he's going to find out that he and Jennifer Aniston are meant to be, and that's pretty much what you expect from a movie like this. I mean, or at least you think, because it's been a while since I've seen this movie, and I'm just kind of looking back on my review here, and I do remember that this particular thing happens in general. Like one thing I'll give the movie credit is that it doesn't end like most romantic comedies do, and you know what I'm talking about. The guy goes about with his lie, the girlfriend finds out from his enemy that he's been lying to her, breaks up with him, you got this long, sad sequence, and then you got redemption for both characters. I like that they didn't do that this time around. They actually had a very unique way of doing it with this particular film. So on that note, I gotta give them the proper credits for that in general, but with that said, though, there is still a ton wrong with this movie. And, Nicole Kidman, you got an Academy Award-winning actress who commands the screen whenever she's on it, but in this film, she is the most annoying character in this movie. She has so many moments in here where she does not need to be here whatsoever. Like, I also don't like the fact that there's so many bad jokes in this that just fall and fail on so many levels. I mean, the gross-out jokes alone are just absolutely abysmal. I also hate this running joke about how the young daughter wants to be British and talks in a British accent, and it's stuff like that where I hate that stuff. I really hate that stuff because it's not funny, it's not clever, it's a quirk that you're trying to make as a joke, and it's just not funny. It is not funny in any way, shape, or form. Dave Matthews grabs a coconut with his ass cheeks. Hilarious. The kid poops on Nick Swartzen's hands, and Nick Swartzen grabbing the balls of his sheep and performing mouth-to-mouth CPR, and it's just why? This movie, there's so much of this movie that could work, but then you throw in these really lazy, bad jokes, and it just completely ruins it from the get-go. It's just a really bad, gross-out comedy that works because the chemistry between the two leads is fine, and the performance by Brooklyn Decker is okay too. But other than that, there really is nothing there that makes this worth it. At least for this movie, this is the most tolerable of Adam Sandler's bad movies he'll give us in 2011. And I guess I could say it's better than Due Date or Little Fockers, but that ain't really saying a whole lot. I never want to watch this movie again. I've had it on DVD for a number of years, and I've just never had the urge to go in and watch it again. Yeah, that just tells you everything to say about how much I don't really care for this movie all that much. But I'll say that it's not the worst thing ever, but that's not really saying a whole lot. So yeah, that's just go with it. Just don't go with it. In my personal opinion, just don't. But anyway, let's move on to our next movie, and that is Justin Bieber, Never Say Never.
My name is Justin. This is how I go.
Craig Ferguson pretty much summed it up right there. Who said that this kid would never make it at the age of 16 years old? Like, what does that make? What sense does that make whatsoever? That's the biggest problem with the documentary in general that I'll get to in just a little bit. The camera follows Justin Bieber during the 10 days leading up to his August 2010 sold-out show at Madison Square Garden. Footage of these 10 days of concerts, rehearsals, and downtime with boyhood friends, his mother, and his entourage is intercut with home movies, old photos, and interviews showing a musical prodigy who loves to perform. Coming to the attention of an Atlanta agent via YouTube, impresses Usher and rockets to international stardom soon after his 15th birthday. His manager emphasizes the importance of social media and of Justin's work ethic and personality in making him a star. The camera emphasizes Bieber's look, his mom and grandparents shine. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the conflict? Where's the purpose? Like, where in this movie is the point where the audience is supposed to connect with Justin Bieber? Nowhere. Not anywhere in this movie. This is nothing but a love fest for Justin Bieber. We can't say anything bad about the kid. We can't say anything negative about him per se. It's just like this isn't like Michael Jackson's This Is It. This isn't like the Jonas Brothers. This isn't like the Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus concert. This is literally a concert where you're watching just everybody gloating about this kid and how great he is when he really is not that great. I mean, he really was not that great of a singer, and he became a fad pretty much almost immediately before eventually had his resurgence later on as an adult. I mean, there's nothing about this movie that's incredible. There's nothing about this movie that's amazing. It's not even that enjoyable of a documentary. It is literally just 90 minutes of watching somebody, not even 90 minutes, 106 minutes, so I was close, but it's literally an hour and a half of a movie that's glorifying Justin Bieber while not saying anything about him that the audience doesn't already know about him already. I mean, that's pretty much all you got to say about how lazy this movie is. There's nothing about this documentary that's interesting. Even if you're a Justin Bieber fan, you're not really getting a whole lot that you don't already know about this person as it is. So what's the point? Why am I even in here? Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But hey, John Chu's a good director, and we know he's going to turn out to do some great stuff later on down the road, so take that for what you will. But, yeah, Justin Bieber, never say never. So can we turn the tide with some of these movies? Let's see what our next movie has to offer us. Romeo and Juliet.
They stand. They stare. They're everywhere.
My sweet little flower boy.
But on February 11th,
Call me.
they're coming to life.
This is good.
Coming to play.
I suggest we put our heads together.
Yep.
And coming to theaters everywhere.
It's about time. That's gonna leave a mark.
Romeo and Juliet. Rated G.
I can't go.
I know how you feel.
No, really, I'm stuck.
Incoming!
February 11th in 3D.
Okay, that bit was actually kind of funny with the gnome getting stuck in the fence. That was actually pretty good. I mean, this one actually, I'll give it credit. It's a lot better than you would give it credit for, because really, when you look at it, it's a movie where you think you know what you're going to get from it. It's basically Toy Story with gnomes mixed in with a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, but there is a little bit more to it in terms of enjoyment factor. It follows Romeo and Juliet, played by James McAvoy and Emily Blunt, who are a pair of garden gnomes who fall in love. But due to the feud between their respective families, they must find a way to keep their blossoming romance a secret. In addition to the two of them, you have a cast that includes Michael Caine, Maggie Smith, Jason Statham, Patrick Stewart, Ashley Jensen, Stephen Merchant, Matt Lucas, Jim Cummings, Julie Walters, Richard Wilson, Dolly Parton, and you have something interesting here, Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. I say this because they just both passed away this week. They both died this week at the age of, I think Hulk Hogan was 71, Ozzy Osbourne I think was 76. I'm looking at it right here, but yeah, didn't even realize that until I looked this up. But it was directed by Kelly Asbury. Kelly Asbury has worked on a lot of DreamWorks animated stuff, specifically with Spirit, Stallion and Cimarron, Romeo and Juliet. He's also done a lot of stuff for Disney, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Toy Story. So there is talent across the board with the movie, and the movie itself isn't bad. Far from it. It's actually, it's decent. It's the type of movie that you go and see. You take the kids to see it, and you don't feel like you're completely embarrassing your kids' integrity by showing them a really lazy movie. You show them this movie, and it's a very harmless film. It's a film that gives them what they want, and you get entertainment value out of it yourself. And Coincidentally, I think it's kind of funny that we have 2 movies this weekend that are G-rated movies. Back when the G rating actually still kind of meant something to people. I mean, this and Justin Bieber, Never Say Never, that surprisingly got a G rating, but this one I think is the much better movie. It's not a great movie overall. There's definitely flawed stuff all across the board in terms of the story and some of the setups for jokes in general, but when you see what you get in this movie, it's actually a lot more than you think it would be. It's actually kind of a fun film. I won't say it's a great movie per se, but it definitely is a lot better than people would let on. The sequel with Johnny Depp as Sherlock Gnomes, not so much, but we'll save that for 2018. But Romeo and Juliet, I wouldn't recommend this to the casual viewer in general, but if you go into a movie like this with a good mindset and want to see a decent animated film in general, you get it here in general, so take that for what you will. That's Romeo and Juliet. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, Channing Tatum and Jamie Bell in The Eagle.
It's my responsibility to bring him back. No room can survive north of the wall. He's a slave to use his knowledge. He speaks the language. You saved my life. That's how it should be. The Eagle. They'll never catch us on foot. Have you seen them run? PG-13.
This is the latest film from Kevin MacDonald, the director of The Last King of Scotland and State of Play, 2 really good movies. This one, not so much. This is based off of Rosemary Sutcliffe's historical adventure novel, The Eagle on the Ninth, and tells the story of a young Roman officer, played by Channing Tatum, attempting to recover the lost Roman eagle standard of his father's legion in Caledonia, his father being played by Donald Sutherland. The story is based on the Ninth Spanish Legion's supposed disappearance in Britain. Historically, the purported disappearance of the Ninth Legion in northern Britain is a subject of debate. On a technical level, the movie itself looks pretty good. The casting overall isn't bad either. Channing Tatum does actually show that he is trying his best to make the movie work. I mean, not to say that his performance in The Dilemma was bad. It was just a badly written character in general, and it was kind of fun to see him play a character that was more comedic than just as a typical action hero. So, really, The Dilemma wasn't his fault. He was just given a really bad script to work with. Here he's actually not doing a bad job here. Everybody here is playing their parts very well. Jamie Bell, Donald Sutherland, Mark Strong, Dennis O'Hare. The biggest problem is that the direction isn't real. The direction overall is fine. I wouldn't even say that that's bad in general, but there's nothing really about it that makes it stand out in general. It feels like it's trying way too hard to be the next Gladiator or A Knight's Tale or that type of a movie, and the visual look of the film just doesn't work very well. It just feels like stuff we've seen done before, like that. You know, how many times have you seen battles on the fields with all these horses and these action sequences going on behind you? It's just like, give me something that actually makes it stand out compared to other ones here. Because other than that, there's really nothing about the film that makes it stand out in any way, shape, or form. And it's just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the purpose? Why are we still here? Like, why are we still here? Just to suffer? If you know what that is, but yeah. Other than that, there's really nothing about this film that makes me say you might want to check it out. I mean, yeah, you could watch it to see some good performances by Tatum, Bell, Sutherland, and Mark Strong, but in the end, it's not really worth it in my opinion. So take that for what you will. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last film, which is easily the best film of the week, and that is Ed Helms in Cedar Rapids.
On an airplane before.
Well, you'll do awesome.
The top critics across the country agree. Super awesome. Cedar Rapids is the place to be. It's NTS. Not too shabby. Make a date. In your home. Grab some friends. This is party headquarters. Or go out on your own. Insurance. Just don't miss the movie Rolling Stone declares comic gold. Just give me your hand. I don't trust people with ponytails. Cedar Rapids. Welcome to the jungle, football. Rated R. Now playing in select theaters.
Yeah, it's not really much of a shocker why this is the best movie of the entire week. This is definitely the one that it's even more, definitely has more to it than the other releases we've had here. But in this film, you have Ed Helms, who plays the guy that people always thought would go places, but then they just don't. He's been living in sleepy Brown Valley, Wisconsin his whole life, still pre-engaged to a 7th grade teacher played by Sigourney Weaver, while selling insurance to protect other people's dreams. But now Tim's stalled life is about to get a kickstart because for the first time in his 34 years, he's heading to a major metropolis, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where he must try to save his company at a do-or-die insurance convention that for him will be entirely unconventional. From the moment he checks into the hotel with his ancient American tourister and cummerbund money boat, it's clear Tim has no idea how the modern world really works. He is soon smitten with seductive Nebraskan insurance agent Joan Ostrowski Fox, played by the late Anne Hesh, and awed by his experienced roommates, the straight-shooting Ronald Wilkes, played by Isaiah Whitlock Jr., and the suspicious Dean Ziegler, played by John C. Reilly. Disheartened when he comes face-to-face with his own corporate corruption, Tim is ultimately lured beyond the lobby into an urban jungle he's only ever seen on DVD. And when it seems his life and chances to succeed have gone completely topsy-turvy, he finds his own unjaded way to turn it all around. It's a long synopsis. I was trying to read that off to you real quickly, but yeah, this is a really, really good movie written by Phil Johnston, who will later find success again with John C. Reilly with the Wreck-It Ralph movies, and also wrote Zootopia. Miguel Arteta, who also did The Good Girl and Youth and Revolt. He was on a nice stretch of films at this point, and then he completely ruined that, starting with his next movie, Alexander the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. But this film is really good. This is a really, really funny movie. Ed Helms is playing this role very well here. He really commands the screen in here. The cast overall is great. I mean, Sigourney Weaver, she's only in there she's not in there a whole lot, but you definitely notice her presence in there. You know, Mai Whitman from Arrested Development is in here playing a really good role in here. John C. Reilly is great. Isaiah Whitlock's really good. Anne Hesh, really good in here, looking unbelievably sexy in this movie. Stephen Root, you see him in the trailer there, but you see him in the trailer for the movie, I should say. I don't think you see him in that commercial, but, you know, Kurtwood Smith, Thomas Lennon. It's not Mai Whitman, it's Alia Shawkat from Arrested Development. I'm sorry, I got that mistaken, but it's Alia Shawkat, not Mai Whitman. But Rob Corddry, Mike O'Malley, Mike Birbiglia, solid cast in the movie. And just everybody plays their parts very well. It's a very simple, straightforward comedy, but it works because the writing is so good. The cast is game for it. The comedy is really good. It knows how to entertain the audience, and it doesn't insult your intelligence. It's a good, fun time all across the board. It's a really good movie, a really hilarious film. I really enjoy the hell out of it. I think it's a really funny film. I can't recommend this one enough. Cedar Rapids, seek it out if you can find it. It's a really, really good movie, plain and simple.
I was in an accident. Someone is pretending to be me.
Why would they want to take your place?
Somewhere there's proof I'm me.
It's not safe. There are people watching.
Who the hell are you? You really don't remember anything, do you? I remember how to kill you. No, rated PG-13, February 18th.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, and today we are taking a look at the 3 films of February 18th, 2011, and our first movie is Liam Neeson starring in Unknown, in which he plays a professor who wakes up from a 4-day-long coma and sets out to prove his identity after no one recognizes him, including his own wife, and another man claims to be him. Sounds like an intriguing premise, but sadly this is one of those movies where it pretty much falls into predictable territory that you think it's going to fall into. It's literally North by Northwest for a modern generation, except it's not taking place in, this time it's taking place in I believe, England, right? Berlin, I'm sorry, Berlin. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I remember not liking it back then, and I just watched it again recently, too, and yeah, it has not held up. It's not gotten any better since then. It's a movie that you could pretty much see the direction it's going to go right from the get-go. Some of it could be an intriguing possibility for a good premise, but it's just not there. And this is one of those movies where I felt like this was Warner Brothers trying to make their own Liam Neeson action franchise, because Taken was such a big hit 2 years ago, and everyone was trying to copy. When something is successful, that somebody's going to be right from the get-go waiting to go ahead and copy that success. They're going to do it again in a month from now with their own Twilight franchise and Red Riding Hood, and yeah, you can pretty much tell how that's going to turn out before I even tell you how well that movie did. But I guess to the film's credit, it's not the worst thing ever. It's not a bad movie. It's just a film that's just been there, done that. It's a movie where, yeah, Liam Neeson's the badass in this movie. That's cool and all, but can you give me a plot or something? Can you give me a reason to stick around with this movie in general? It's just not there. The story is mediocre. There's nothing exciting about these characters whatsoever. It's just a been there, done that story that we've seen done to death before so many times. And, you know, this is just not an entertaining movie. It's just kind of a bland film, a bland, forgettable movie. There's nothing of value to it whatsoever. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. Despite the best efforts by Liam Neeson to try to hold it together, even he's not enough to save the film in general. And Liam Neeson can usually save a good movie or a bad movie when he needs to. I mean, he may do the same thing this weekend with The Naked Gun coming out at the time of recording this on July 28th. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is I Am Number 4.
I've been on the run since I can remember. All I ever do is wait for my life to start.
Who are you?
I'm not who you think I am. There are 9 of us hiding all over the world. They are hunting us down one by one. The first 3 are dead. I'm number 4. They're coming. We need to leave. This is my home now. I'm not leaving. You need to find the others. Together you'll be more powerful. Who are you?
Number 6.
You have no idea what I'm capable of. I am number 4, rated PG-13.
Yep, one of the many attempts to try to bring a young adult series to the big screen, and this one, they didn't even wait for the books to actually come out before they started making the movies. Yeah, no joke, this book came out less than 6 months before this movie came on August 3rd, 2010. This came out on February 18th, 2011. They only had 6 months to make this movie, in between the book and then the movie. You can kind of see why the film didn't do well. I mean, it did decent business overall. It did make its money back, and it did become profitable worldwide, but at the same time, the reviews were not that great. Nobody was really giving a crap about it, per se, and it was just a film that, you know, they were going to do a sequel and all that, and they were even going to do a reboot of it, but the demand just wasn't there for the film, unfortunately. The premise over... I mean, this is a film that... I mean, it's based off... Like I said, it's based off the novel by Pittacus Lore, which that name alone, that sounds like a fake name. You know that Simpsons episode where Homer, Bart, Principal Skinner, Selma, and Moe decided they wanted to create the ultimate young adult book because they know it's going to sell well, and Lisa's trying to write a book and she can't do it, and then she eventually joins in, and Neil Gaiman eventually joins in. Timely by the way, because that was around this time this was actually released, that episode aired, but yeah, this is the... Pittacus Lore sounds like the name that feels like that's the fake name they came up with for that. I mean, that's what it feels like when I read this name, Pittacus Lore. But I Am Number 4 revolves around John, played by Alex Pettyfer, who is an extraordinary teen, masking his true identity and passing as a typical high school student to elude a deadly enemy seeking to destroy him. 3 like him have already been killed, but he is number 4. Number 4 of what? Yeah, that's a big question that you have to figure out beforehand, and the film does not tell you about that whatsoever. But despite all this, I don't hate this movie. I kind of like it. I don't think it's great. I think the worst thing about it is the script. And this is not written by hacks either. This is written by Alfred Gould and Miles Millar from Smallville. You know, these guys have written good stuff in the past, and this just felt like a film where they literally had no idea how to write this because the book wasn't even out yet. So how are you supposed to write a movie off of the book if you don't even know what the book's about? And the line readings in here the lines are pretty bad here, but, you know, one guy, you know, Timothy Oliphant is somebody who can make those lines work. The lousy lines in here are so bad, but he's the one who's really given his all in this movie. Like, you know, I think Alex Pettyfer's fine in here. He's come a long way from Alex Rider, Operation Stormbreaker. I mean, he's passable in here. Diana Agnon from Glee is in here, getting a chance to prove her acting abilities, and again, does a decent job here. Teresa Palmer is kind of okay as number 6 here. She's not really used that much at all. You think in the trailer she's going to be all throughout the movie, but no, she's only in there for, like, the climax of the film, and that's it. Like, the dog creature that's in this movie gets more screen time than she does, and Speaking of the dog in this movie, the main creatures that the enemies use have the ability to change into other animals, which, again, never explained whatsoever, and that's the main problem with the movie. They never explain anything that is going on, with the exception of why the enemies are chasing after these 9 Lorians, if you will. Like, you know, why can the creatures change into animals? We won't know. Where the 2 internet guys got that footage of John with his lightning powers? We'll never know. Every event in this film is never explained at all. This is a film that just has one of the worst scripts for a film like this I have ever seen. So it's amazing that I came out of it going like, this actually wasn't that bad. I mean, again, maybe it's because, like I said, it was filmed at the high school I graduated from. This came out about 4 years after I graduated, so I'd seen that they were making a big budget movie like this, literally like 10 minutes away from where I live. I mean, that's, of course I'm going to get, I mean, I've said it before, I've got Pittsburgh, what would you call it, Pittsburgh, kryptonite, if you will. Like a movie that's shot in Pittsburgh, regardless of how bad it is, or Western Pennsylvania in general, regardless of how bad it is, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna like it. Like Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which wasn't a bad movie. Striking Distance, which is a widely bad movie, but a fun movie for me. This is another one of those movies where it's just like, this is not a great movie, but it's fine for what it is. The best way to describe it is that it's a fun, dumb summer action movie in February, because this came out in February, of course. And DJ Caruso, I think, can make it work. I mean, this is the guy that did Disturbia, this is the guy that did Eagle Eye. He does a good job with the action sequences. The actors are doing the best they can with the material given. It's a fine movie. It's fine. Like I said, it's nothing incredible. It's nothing amazing. It has one of the worst scripts you could possibly have for a movie like this, but I didn't come out hating it. I just kind of was just like, this wasn't bad, but I think it's just because of the fact that it's literally was shot 10 minutes from where I live. I mean, that's something I got to give it credit for. And that's the school I graduated from, so that, yeah, that's... Like I said, it's not a good movie. I wouldn't even recommend seeing it for yourself, but me personally, I didn't hate it, so. I don't hate it because certainly our last movie is the one that deserves all the hatred in the world. Because you know what we don't need? Big Mama's House to be a trilogy, but some idiot at 20th Century Fox, probably Tom Rothman, who was still at the company at the time, so looked at the catalog he had and said, you know what America really needs? A Big Mama's House movie. Let's go ahead and get that guy whose career was completely tarnished from Tropic Thunder, too.
Pull over now! Come here! The FBI's top agent.
Hey, son, what are you doing here? You just saw Cherkoff murder someone.
That means he's gonna kill me?
Is going back undercover.
Hide you. How you gonna hide a swag big as this?
But this time, he's got backup.
La, la, la. You're a difficult child, Charmaine Daisy Pierce. Who? My great niece. And you better start sounding like it before you scare someone. How's this? Swing low, swing.
You know, in 2025, we have gotten a lot of sequels that have been completely pointless, have no reason to exist. You know, Happy Gilmore 2, Karate Kid Legends. We've had a lot of sequels that have no reason to exist ever since Top Gun Maverick kind of changed the game as a whole. But yeah, here's an example of a movie that has no reason to exist and only exists because Fox is so desperate to make a trilogy out of anything so they can have those 3 movie collections inside of Walmart in the $5 bin, because that's the only way you're ever going to see this movie. This is what do you expect, man? Malcolm Turner, played by Martin Lawrence, has gone back undercover as Big Mama. His teenage son, Trent Pierce, played by Brandon T. Jackson, in what is essentially the last movie where he was taken seriously whatsoever, because his career after Tropic Thunder crashed like a bad roller coaster accident. But he's just graduated from high school and is accepted into Duke University. However, he prefers to pass on college and pursue a music career as a rapper named Prodigy. With his mother Sherry away on vacation, which basically means Neil Long said, I'm not coming back to this fucking franchise. Trent tries to get Malcolm to sign a contract for him, but Malcolm refuses as he believes that Trent should get his education. Persistent to get the signature, Trent stalks Malcolm while he works on a case and witnesses a murder. To keep Trent safe, Malcolm goes undercover as Big Mama for the third time. Trent joins him going undercover as Big Mama's great niece, Charlemagne Daisy Pierce, at a performing arts school for girls. Trent tries to develop a romance with one of the girls as himself, while Big Mama is being pursued by the school's goofball security guard played by Faison Love, who has a fascination with big women. That premise alone tells you everything that is wrong with this fucking film. First of all, a performing arts school for girls. Gee, I wonder what was so popular back then for 20th Century Fox that they had to put it in every single bad sequel they had. Oh wait, Glee. Yeah, this is the second movie in 2 years where they brought in this whole idea of a musical art school and all that. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, even though that technically wasn't an art school, they were still trying to save the music program, so we had to have musical numbers in here. Let's throw in the Big Mamas. Why? Fuck if we know, but hey, Martin Lawrence is back in the suit that people kind of wanted to see again. I mean, I don't know. I like the first Big Mama's House movie. It's nowhere near the levels of Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire, but it was fun for what it was. The second one was just... yeah, it was just nothing bad. Just mad. Nothing offensively bad. Nothing that's terrible in any way, shape, or form, but it did not need to exist. And just like this movie, this one didn't need to exist. Seriously. Who came up with this? I mean, who was asking for this movie? They didn't even try with this film. The film should have just been called Big Mama's House 3. We're taking your money because you have no brains if you like this. Everybody in this cast is horribly misused. Brandon T. Jackson, Sherry Shepard, Faison Love, Jessica Lucas, Martin Lawrence. Are your careers really this bad to drop to this low? Like, you have no idea how much I hated this movie. I had seen Little Fockers and Diary of a Wimpy Kid in the years since this movie before this movie came out. Those movies were bad. I mean, Diary of a Wimpy Kid was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But this right here takes the cake compared to Little Fockers. Little Fockers is bad, but Little Fockers was like Citizen Kane compared to this garbage. At least Little Fockers had somewhat of a reason to exist, but because the first two movies were so successful and it had a large fan base behind it, nobody was asking for this movie. Like, nobody was asking to see a Big Mama's movie on the big screen. Like, you wonder why the Dr. Dolittle sequels went straight to DVD. Because they couldn't get Eddie Murphy back, and they realized nobody is going to go see this movie in the theater. Even though Dr. Dolittle 3, they were going to try to put in theaters, and then somebody was just like, bitch, are you crazy? You got no Eddie Murphy, you got no Norm Macdonald back. I mean, fuck off with that. And somebody should have said the same thing about this here, because, yeah, this movie is fucking terrible. This is one of the worst pieces of garbage I have ever seen in my entire life. This is way, way worse than Little Fockers was, because Little Fockers was at least trying to come up with laughs, tried to be funny. At times, it did kind of do that, but not at many. The actors were at least trying in that movie. They were at least had a purpose for being there, for the most part. But this is just inexcusable. Nobody was asking for this movie in 2011. Not in 2006 when the last movie came out, but 2011. 11 years have passed. We have seen far better comedies before Big Mama's House, after Big Mama's House came out, that are so much better than this pile of garbage. This useless movie that is not funny. It is not a entertaining piece of entertainment whatsoever. The villain in this movie is not threatening. His name is Jerkoff, because get it? His name rhymes with Jerkoff. Just like, fuck you. Just fuck off and die already. This franchise just needed to die. And sure enough, it did die because nobody was going to do another Big Mama's House movie. At least not yet. I mean, we are living in a time of legacy sequels, so who knows? I'm guaranteeing you we probably get Big Mama's 4 or something like that before the decade is over. I'm not even, it's probably already in the works right now. I mean, yeah, hey, Tom Hoffman's not at Fox anymore, but hey, he might find a way to bring it to Sony. I mean, after all, Regency Enterprises is no longer associated with Fox, so take that for what you will. And yeah, by the way, speaking of worthless sequels that we don't, look at what's playing on my TV during my review. A sequel that nobody was asking for, in freakier. I mean, who knows? It could be good. I mean, it's good to see Lindsay Lohan back in a role where she's not, doesn't look like she's embarrassing herself or wanting to be a party girl or what. And Jamie Lee Curtis is always fun and all, but I'm sorry. I'm getting sick and tired of these legacy sequels because they keep getting worse and worse and more pointless than ever. You know, we just had Happy Gilmore 2, which was not nowhere near as good as Happy Gilmore was. It wasn't funny, it wasn't clever, it was pretty much everything that Big Mama's Like Father Like Son is. There was no reason to make this movie except for name recognition. But by this point, nobody cared. This movie was so bad that I almost walked out. This would have been the 4th movie in my life I've ever walked out of. And as I was really going to walk out, the moment I walked out, the movie had already ended. The credits started rolling, and it's just kind of like, oh wow, I completely stayed around for the whole movie. But then they started doing a rap during the end credits. It's just like, okay, now I'm leaving. I'm not, like, nothing of value will ever come from this point at this point going forward. So I'm just kind of rambling on at this point, but I think you get the idea. Big Mama's Like Father Like Son sucks. It is one of the worst comedies I have ever seen, and I think it is one of the worst movies, if not the worst movie I've seen this in 2011. I'd have to double check. Plus, we've still got a couple weeks to go to look through all the films of 2011. But if it's actually no, it is not the worst movie of 2011 because Sucker Punch still has yet to come out. So Sucker Punch is still the worst movie of the year. But this is definitely very high up there with the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and one of the worst movies of the year so far. Just terrible, terrible movie. Big Mama's Like Father Like Son. I think you get the point.
I'll pass.
What?
The week off for marriage. 7 days of freedom. We're burning daylight.
Let me log out. Okay, you log out. I'm gonna try to do the receptionist.
No limits.
That girl over there is looking at you.
One looks like Chief from Cuckoo's Nest?
No rules.
Hey, what's with the helmet? Oh, chicks dig motorcycles.
No game.
Do you know how much a polar bear weighs?
No, how much?
Enough to break the ice. High Fred serum.
Hall pass.
Hey, what I got? What are those? Just some brownies. It's a bit naughty. What kind of soap do you use? Dough? So soft. Yeah. February 25th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies, where we are taking a look at the 2 big new releases of the weekend of February 25th, 2011. Starting with our first movie here, The Farrelly Brothers returning with Hall Pass, their first film since The Heartbreak Kid, which was not the big success they were hoping for. And this one, not so much. Rick and Fred, played by Owen Wilson and Jason Sudeikis, are 2 husbands who are having difficulties in their marriage. They're married to Christina Applegate, and Jason Sudeikis is married to Christina Applegate. Owen Wilson's married to Jenna Fisher, and they're given hall passes by their wives for 1 week. They're allowed to have sex with other women. They're basically allowed to be bachelors again. And you see people in that movie, in the trailer, including Richard Jenkins. You have Alexander Daddario in here, Stephen Merchant, J.B. Smoove, Larry Joe Campbell from According to Jim, Vanessa Angel. You see Joy Behar, who for some reason is in this movie. I don't know why, honestly, but yeah, this is a movie where the premise is really good, and unlike The Heartbreak Kid, which was just a movie that just didn't work because of its lazy attempts at gross-out humor, this one doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of raunchy humor. Like, it really doesn't go to that nth level that the Farrelly Brothers are known to go for, and usually have done well at with, There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, those type of films. This one just doesn't feel like it's going in that same direction, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the writer of this movie, Pete Jones, who did Stolen Summer, which, if you don't remember, was, if I remember correctly, I think that was the Project Greenlight movie that was one of the first ones they did. I was correct. That was the same guy who did Stolen Summer, which was the first Project Greenlight film, which wasn't that great of a movie. It was kind of like a serious drama, and definitely was not one of the better ones coming out of that Project Greenlight era. But this one in particular, the pieces are definitely there for something funny. Sometimes you get a good laugh here and there, but the jokes overall are kind of lackluster and mediocre and don't really add a whole lot to the overall enjoyment of the movie. And for the Farrelly Brothers, you expect so much more from them considering with the work they've done beforehand, but I don't know. Ever since Heartbreak Kid, they have not been on the same wavelengths, but granted, it's just one movie, but still, it just feels like you expect so much more from these guys, but this one didn't feel like it was a movie that was working on their favor. It just felt like a film that was just kind of like, hey, let's try to capture the old days with stuff like Kingpin and There's Something About Mary, and it's just not there in this one, unfortunately. I mean, it doesn't try hard enough to get the good laughs. I mean, it's not as bad as Heartbreak Kid, but it just doesn't have that spark that the Farrelly brothers were known for when they did their Something About Mary. Owen Wilson and Jason Sudeikis can get a good laugh every once in a while. So does Richard Jenkins. Richard Jenkins, honestly, is probably the most fun character in the movie. He's kind of playing this guy who is trying to teach them how to get girls and all that. There's a great bit where, you know, he's talking about, yeah, that woman's ugly, but she looks beautiful and all. But then you just like take your hands and then just take the friends out, and then you see, yeah, she's the ugly one of a hot group of people. Like, and her face changes and all that. Like, stuff like that can be funny. But if there was more of that in the movie, I probably would have appreciated it a lot more, but as it is, not so much. Not a bad movie, but certainly very subpar compared to what the Farrelly brothers usually do here. But they would get back on track with their next movie the next year with the Three Stooges, but we'll save that for 1 year from now. But that's Hall Pass, but let's go ahead and take a look at our last one that we have here. Nicolas Cage and Amber Heard starring in the action-adventure 3D adventure Action-Adventure Drive Angry in 3D. I completely butchered that opening.
Kidnap my daughter. I am going to get her back.
I'm with you until the end.
Oh, yeah.
Critics are calling Drive Angry one hell of a ride. They got a fight coming. With spectacularly explosive 3D action like you've never seen. It's insanely fun. Must be experienced on the big screen.
I'll be like butter on the popcorn. Sure to be a grand show.
It's Nicolas Cage at his action-packed best. Drive Angry, shot in 3D, rated R, in Real D 3D, February 25th.
Here's another one of those movies like Hall Pass where the potential is there for something really good, but they just don't deliver on it, sadly. And from the same director who did My Bloody Valentine 3D, I expect so much more than what we got here. Nicolas Cage stars as John Milton, who's up against the clock. Jonah King, played by Bill Fichtner, is the leader of a satanic cult and has murdered Milton's daughter and kidnapped her baby. In 3 days, King and his followers will sacrifice the child at midnight. Milton picks up the trail in Oklahoma as well as rescuing a waitress, played by Amber Heard, from her brutal two-timing fiancé. There are odd things about Milton. His driver's license is out of date, he has a very strange gun, and he's being pursued by a man in a suit who carries FBI ID and calls himself the Accountant. Piper, who lives a life on the sidelines, has to piece things together on the fly as they close in on King. I'll give it this. Compared to some of Nicolas Cage's other lackluster films, compared to stuff like Next and The Wicker Man and Knowing, and we just had Season of the Witch, this is definitely one of his better movies, but even then, it still isn't worth it in the end. I mean, the film, again, it has the same problems with Hall Pass. There's a good idea for something really good here, but it plays it way too safe. It's trying to be like another Grindhouse movie, but even the Grindhouse movies took more chances than this did. This one just doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel like they have the stuff there to make this work. And it's a shame because you can see the pieces of them trying to put something together, but the jokes just don't work. The action really isn't as strong. Even the 3D exploitation stuff they throw in here isn't that great to begin with. And it's just kind of like, if you can't make a movie like this work with the 3D that you have, and this isn't one of those post-production 3D hell movies, this is a film that was shot in 3D, you have to be better than this. And sadly, this just really felt like an obligation movie. Like, you know how back in the day, you know, they had the first 3D movie coming at you 3D, and then the people who made that movie were kind of obligated to make a second film that they weren't really game for. That's kind of how I feel like with this movie here. My Bloody Valentine 3D was an unexpected success, and so they basically had the same people come in and do this one, and it just wasn't there this time around. And it really, really sucks for me to say that, because there was definitely a lot of stuff in here that could have been really fun, but when I watched it finally, I was completely let down by it, and yeah, so that's all you got from me on that one. Such a disappointment. Again, another disappointing weekend of films that should have been better, but just not. So, Drive Angry 3D. So yeah, I probably should mention something to you about 2011. It's probably one of the worst movie years of all time. I mean, I did a list for an upcoming time talking about the movie's 20th anniversary special here. And yeah, 2011 definitely is on that list of some of the worst years of all time in terms of movies that I really liked and didn't like. There's a lot of movies that I have not liked, and so far in these first 8 weeks of this year, it is definitely showing that 2011 is not off to the strongest start ever. But Here's the good news. It will get better.